daughter and the nieces and the nephews, and our family is here for my father. And I don't know, I'm kind of getting lost, I guess, but I just want to sing one little song that is a song that came to me when I was trying to do some healing in my mind, between me and my parents. Just a little song. Sing a song of healing, healing, sing a song of healing, sing a song of loving, loving, sing a song of loving, sing a song of giving, giving, sing a song of giving, sing a song for giving, forgiving, sing a song for giving, sing a song of living, living, sing a song of living, sing a song of healing, loving, giving, forgiving, living, healing, giving, living, loving, forgiving. Oh, thank you.
And now we're proud to have with us Norma Becker, who met Dave during the formation of the Fifth Avenue Peace Parade Committee. Norma?
Before I start, Natasha, I have to say that speech was exquisite. I'm proud to be a member of your family. No time for applause. I've been given 2 minutes. For me, two very wise events shine out of Dave's illustrious life. In the spring of 1965, he, along with Staughton Lynd, where's Staughton? Here, where? Oh, hi. He, along with Staughton Lynd and Bob Moses, organized the Congress of Unrepresented People. This, I believe, was the first and largest nonviolent civil disobedience protest to end the war. Is that right, Staughton? Hello? One of the first. One of the first. And one of the biggest too? Please? Okay. Anyway, I had just organized the New York City Teachers Committee for Peace in Vietnam. Shortly afterwards, this group in Ann Arbor, Michigan, called for international days of protest to end the war in Vietnam, setting the protest days as October 15th and 16th. I lost my place. Wait a minute. 3 goes after 2. Okay, here we are. It's embarrassing, really. Well, anyway, in New York City, A.J. Musty, a representative of the Fellowship of Reconciliation, and I invited every peace group, to a meeting to discuss the Teachers Committee proposal for a parade down Fifth Avenue on Saturday, October 15th. And we have with us Jane Califf. Where's Jane? Are you here? Yeah. Where? Oh, and Jane was a member of that committee. Life goes on. At any rate, it was to be my first introduction to coalition politics, an unforgettable experience. Before the meeting was even held, our good friend Ralph from the WRL said there would never be a parade because the police would never give us a permit. Anyway, over 50 people attended that planning meeting held at WRL's office at 5 Beekman Street. Do you remember that address? 5 Beekman Street. Okay, anyway, when the agenda moved swiftly to an item called official slogans, all hell broke loose. It was unreal. People offered ferocious arguments for Bring the Troops Home Now versus Bring the Troops Home Alive. The folks in that room couldn't believe, I couldn't believe the folks in that room, but they couldn't agree on the time of day. In utter despair and ignorance, I have to admit, I finally threatened to end the meeting, call together another group, and march down Fifth Avenue like Pierre Mendès France did in Paris during the war with Algeria. There was total silence. After a brief period of this total silence, the representative from Zinn made a formal motion that we all march down Fifth Avenue under the single slogan of End the War in Vietnam Now. The motion passed, and we were on our way. Getting back to Dave, whom this story is about. I lost my place again, hold on. Oh, here's the point. After the meeting was over, to everyone's stunned shock that it was such a success, I heard a comment made to another person. The comment went something like this: "It was very wise of Dave to have stayed out of all that sectarian bickering."
I've worked with Pete Seeger enough to know that he would say something like this: "Well, you know, Rick, a good song is always worth another singing." It's the way that Woody really wrote the song. As I was walking along that roadside, I saw a sign that said private property, but on the other side, it didn't say nothing. That side was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. Fathers bled at Valley Forge. The snow was red with blood. Our faith was warm at Valley Forge. Our faith was brotherhood. Wasn't that a time? Wasn't that a time? A time to try the soul of man. Wasn't that a terrible time? How many times we've gone to war in freedom's holy name. Children died for rich men's pride, and rulers without shame. Wasn't that a time? Wasn't that a time? A time to try the soul of man. Wasn't that a terrible time? Our faith cries out, we have no fear. We dare to reach our hand to other neighbors, far and near, to friends in every land. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, you know that I do. We shall hand in hand. Here we go. Go ahead. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, you know that I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Oh, deep in my heart, you know that I do believe we shall overcome someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. The whole world around, the whole wide world around, the whole wide world around, the whole wide world around someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
It's common to hear that the 50s and even the early 60s were times of conformity and repression. The Korean War, McCarthy era, the Cold War, plus the deadening banality of mainstream society. Father knew best, and the American dream was in full regalia. But there were storms brewing beneath illusion of calm. And Dave and Elizabeth were part of that shift in the winds of change. Here's just a taste of what they were up to. Direct Action was succeeded by the magazines Alternative, and then Individual Action, and finally Liberation, which lasted for 20 years. And despite how that time is depicted, there were anti-nuclear demonstrations and civil disobedience actions. There were marches and freedom rides in the South, solidarity actions to bridge the people-to-people gap between Cuba and the United States after 1959, protests with Martin Luther King in the civil rights movement, and a series of nonviolent committees and organizations. Through this period, Dave and Elizabeth lived and worked in an intentional community, as well as with the libertarian press. They were also working internationally with campaigns of liberation in Europe and the colonized world. And now, to talk about that time, an inspiring voice in the fight for economic democracy and workers' control, and one of the co-founders of Liberation magazine, Staughton Lynd.
I had the opportunity to work most closely with Dave during the 10 years 19